So this is a Hikari LED headlight kit, also known as the Eye of Megatron. And the packaging is nice and simple for a product that's under $50. It does say made in China, and that's also shown here. It does say that it's designed in Japan, if it makes you feel a little better. Inside it does have an instruction manual that's actually pretty good. There are good depictions of what the light bulb looks like. There's also good translation as far as how to install the light bulb. There's even some specifications for the light bulb performance, some frequently asked questions, basically a troubleshooting guide in case the light bulbs are act up. And there's also talks about the warranty on there. Now let's look at the actual light bulbs. They're very well packaged in this cushioning material, so you can tell that they're gonna arrive nice and safe for you. The other thing that I like about the light bulbs is how they made the connector in the back. So normally in a halogen light bulb, the connector is part of the body of the light bulb. So the light bulb is normally about that short. In the LED headlights, it's kind of a little pigtail end. So this gives you a little bit more reach to be able to install this easily into the housing and be able to connect this to your car. So I think it makes installation easier. Now let's look at the actual construction of the LED light bulbs. The body of all this right here and all of this is metal, and I suspect this is aluminum. The listing for this claims that it's a copper heatsink, but I'm not really able to verify that. This is anodized, so I can't really see if it's copper. I really think this is just aluminum to reduce cost. In the back, there's a little grill. When inside or behind the grill, there is a little fan. You can see also the Hikari logo printed right here. You can see that. And also the other thing to point out too is how really nicely and everything is machined on this part. There's a lot of really nice attention to detail on it for something that you're probably not gonna see much. Even the heatsink is very well made. There are no sharp edges where I'm gonna cut myself. It really looks like something that will be left exposed. The LED light bulbs also have the ability to turn in relation to this outer portion. So that means when you install it in your headlight, you'll be able to turn it so you can control the way that the light is being coming out of your headlight, so you can potentially control how much light goes into which direction and find the best output for your particular setup light. Especially this is very important for projector light setups. For standard OEM headlights, the standard configuration of one side facing to the left and one facing to the right will probably be the most common one that you will want to do. LED headlights are not something that is very new. They've been around since 2006, so the technology has been around. However, it has never really matched the performance on halogen until more recent years, where the technology has now matured. It gotten closer to halogen, and now it's getting closer to HID, or high intensity discharge lights, or potentially even surpassing that. So by that, I mean that a regular halogen light bulb of this particular size for the Dodge Neon, that will be a 9007 light bulb, are typically rated at 55 watts and now puts 1,000 luminance. That's how bright it is, 1,000 luminance. If you were to go with a high intensity discharge kit, you're probably looking at 2,500 to maybe 3,000 luminance. So now it's 3 times brighter, but you're pulling a lot more electricity, a lot more watts through the stock wires, and there's a potential of burning the stock wires or the connector. So sometimes you have to buy a rewire kit to address that issue. So I'm really excited about going to LED light bulbs because this is not only my first experience with them, but I also think it's the perfect time to try them out since the technology has now matured to something that is probably about the same cost of what it would cost me to go to a very low budget HID kit, or to replace both the light bulbs on my car with some kind of high quality halogen light bulb. These bulbs are actually rated at 9,600 luminance. And manufacturers have been known to exaggerate that. So you might see an HID kit that says 3,500 luminance, but it actually only outputs 2,500. So I really doubt that these light bulbs are outputting 9,600 luminance. Really, this is gonna be 9 times brighter than my original light bulbs. I highly doubt it. But I do think that they're gonna be, for sure, gonna be twice as bright, I'm hoping, if not close to stock. And we'll find out, we'll do some setups with some comparisons. The other thing I want to show you guys on the back regarding the fan. Why is there a fan on LED light bulbs? Well, heat is the biggest enemy of LEDs. LEDs can last for longer periods of time if they're properly cooled. And we talked about the body being a machine body, and that is the reason, so it can act as a heatsink, not just the body but the heatsink on the back, and the addition of the fan just keeps this whole assembly cool. That ensures a longer life. Hikari claims that these things are warranted for 2 years, so I'm guessing they have a degree of confidence that these things will last. Now, headlights that are powered by halogen light bulbs, and probably even the high intensity discharge lights, do tend to lose the brightness over time. So the bulb does start to get dimmer. Obviously you don't notice it because it's a gradual loss of brightness. And eventually it get dim enough where you'll be like, okay, now it's time to replace the light bulb if it doesn't die out. LEDs are probably not gonna suffer too much of that. They will degrade, but eventually what's gonna happen is the LED segments will fail. Now what I like about this Hikari LED lights is that there is a total of 3 segments on each one of these rows. So on this side, I have 6 segments of LEDs. On the other side, I have an additional 6 segments of LEDs. Assuming the driver that's in here is powering the LEDs can power them individually, one particular element can die and it'll still have 5 elements. So even though some LEDs may die over time, I would only lose just a small percentage of power. So I think this is going to be comparable to what you have with the halogen light, which again is great news because LEDs being compared to HIDs or being better than halogens was not something that was known for until in the recent years. So let's see how these things look when they're installed. To remove the connector, you first have to disconnect the cable that goes to the lamp. I carefully lift on the tabs right here to avoid breaking them. Pull that guy out. See those little tabs? Once the connector is removed, then you can turn the collar that holds the connector in place. And when you turn that collar, it pops right out. Now we can remove the light bulb. That's how you take out the light bulb in a Dodge Neon. Alright, so installing the LED light bulbs, it's actually a little different than installing the halogen ones. And the reason being is that with the halogen ones, this was being held like this in the car, and there's really nothing in the way against the collar, so there's a lot of space for movement. However, with the LED lights, now you got this little pigtail, and originally I thought it was going to make it easier. It actually makes it harder because it gets in the way. I can't fully see the light bulb. But don't worry, that's not a problem. Remember, these things turn, and if you turn them, it's gonna snap off. So first, I'm gonna install this into the position inside the housing. So this will be located inside the housing, and then I'll just slide the light bulb into place, turn it to lock it. Now remember, the LEDs are directional, so we wanna make sure that after we insert the LEDs into the housing, they are facing the right direction. For a normal OM housing, the LED segments should be facing one set should be facing the driver's side and the other side should be facing the passenger side. So take a look at this. This is passenger side, the other side, driver's side. You don't want to install them like this where one is facing up and the other is facing down. Okay, one to the left and one to the right. So first, just so I know that that's going to be the way I'm going to like it, I have the collar and I put a little bit of yellow paint or any other kind of paint in the fully locked position. So I know that I have to get that collar with the yellow paint up because that's going to align the light bulb like this. Notice that if I turn it, it unlocks it. So I'm going to pop this into place with the yellow mark facing up. Okay, so I got the collar in there with the yellow mark facing up and fully locked in place. Now all I gotta do is slide the light bulb into place and turn to lock. Okie dokie, the light bulb is fully locked. And all I gotta do now is reconnect the headlight. Done. So that was the installation of the LED light bulb. So you ready to check out the Hikari light bulbs? Check this out. That is the normal incandescent light bulb. Actually, the halogen light bulb. This is a Hikari LED light. And man, they do look really, really cool. Right away, the first thing that stands out is the difference in color. Notice that that is just a standard yellow color, the halogen color, and that is a bright color. Now, does it look like I have HID on there? Probably not, but it's very, very white. I'm gonna get really close so you can see how white it is, and it's very bright. The camera has to even turn down the brightness just to be able to capture it because it is very bright. I'm gonna say it's probably about double the brightness of what the regular halogen. I'm gonna turn off the light here before we go out on the road and look at it again. So you can see here the yellow and the white. But more importantly, I'm interested in the brightness. And this is hard to capture in picture because the camera is trying to compensate for trying to capture two different light levels. But I can tell you in here that this is brighter than the halogen one. The other thing that's interesting is I could hear the little fan going on very, very faintly. So the fan in there is turning. Obviously the other one is dead quiet, but you could hear the fan coming from the one with the LED. So time to go out and test drive it. Okay, so this is with both Hikari LED lights bulbs installed. What a difference. The car looks awesome. I mean, it really just brings new life to the car. The incandescent lights or halogen lights really date a car, I think, especially now that I know that they have LED technology out there that is so easy as plug and play. I know that there are HID kits that are fairly close to that, but I don't want to burn any wires, and this just looks amazing. Look at that. Let me turn off the light so you can see it with the lights off. I mean, really, really uniform light. So you can't really see like there's spots of light coming out of specific LEDs. The light is very uniform and very strong coming out of both headlights. All right, let's go take a look now in a test drive with both of the LED lights installed. Alright guys, we are back from the test drive, and as you saw, the difference is night and day. Really, the LED light bulb outperforms the halogen light. I also want to remind you, all the driving tests that you just saw were done with the fog lights up. So because the fog lights were off, all the light you saw was coming from the headlights, and clearly LED is going to be the way to go. The other cool thing about the LED is, as you saw, it really is just a plug and play solution. If you wanted something crazy bright like HID, you better get the supporting hardware for it. And this is what I mean by that. A standard halogen light bulb uses 55 watts. The HID kits out there can easily exceed that amount of power. So that means that you're gonna have to upgrade the wire harness that powers your headlight. Otherwise, you're gonna burn the wires. You also wanna be careful with HID kits that you might melt your housing. So if you're just looking for something brighter, close to HID, easy to install, consider the LED kit. The Eye of Megatron, I think, is going to satisfy probably 95% of you guys out there looking for better light out of your Dodge Neon. Well, that's it for this episode, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this product review. If you want to see more videos like this, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.